Hello, welcome back to class. In today's section, we are going to explore how to effectively use PowerPoint for presentation. Now, one may ask, what is PowerPoint? PowerPoint is a presentation software application developed by Microsoft. It is used to create, edit, and deliver slide-based presentation. Let's get started. So how do I launch Microsoft PowerPoint? The first steps you do, first step you take, you click on the start button, you search for PowerPoint here, or you can go to all program, or preferably if you can search, click in and type PowerPoint. So this is how the PowerPoint icon looks like. So I'll click on open. When you click on open, you wait for it to load. Now this is the welcome screen. Here we have the blank. We can choose from the template, an already designed format. You can also decide to use any of them. PowerPoint is mostly used for presentation. Let's assume you have a seminar talk or a workshop you need to present to a large audience. You use PowerPoint to project your point. Now let's click on the blank. When you click on the blank, let's explore the features, what the whole environment is encompassed of, what the whole environment is made of. The first, we have to look at the title bar. The title bar displays the name of the environment, which is PowerPoint, and the default name. The default name for PowerPoint is always presentation 1. When the work is saved, the name of the saved file will now be here. So for now, by default, it is presentation 1. So PowerPoint, this is called a title bar. This is called a title bar. Here is called a quick access toolbar, where we can have quick access to some command. For example, this is the save, this is the undo, and this is the redo. Now below it, we have the file menu. When you click on the file menu, click on it, you have this previous environment we saw earlier, where we can select new, open, save, check our previous. These are previous work we've done in PowerPoint, and we can as well as exit from this environment. So this is how the file menu looks like. I'm going to take a step backward. I'm going to go backward by clicking the back icon. When I click there, I'm back to this environment. So on the file menu, we can save our work, we can open an existing work, we can open a new work, we can as well as save as PDF, we can print our slide. So this is what we can do with our file menu. Beside the file menu, we have the tabs. The tabs start from the home tab, they insert the draw till where we have the Acrobat. So all these are the tabs. Below the tabs, we have the ribbon, and on the ribbon we have the groupings. For the home tab, we have the clipboard group, we have the slide group, we have the font. So each group has a demarcation. For example, the font group starts from this line and ends here, and this is called the font group. Likewise, the paragraph group from here to this, drawing also from here to here, editing just here for the Adobe Acrobat here, then add in, and so on. So when we click on the insert tab, we have this group, slide group, tables, images, illustration, links, and so on. When we go to the draw, likewise we have the different grouping. So our tabs, this is all our tabs. These are tabs in Microsoft PowerPoint. So we have the groupings in PowerPoint. Now here we call it the thumbnails. Here is called the thumbnails. We can add as many slides as possible. Here is called the slide area. On the slide area, or we can preferably call it the slide, we call each of these box here, this box you're seeing, so these broken lines, we call this the placeholder. So it's called the placeholder, where we can click inside and you have your insertion point here, and you can type in any word, for example MS PowerPoint. So this is called the placeholder. You click here, also is another placeholder but with a different font size. When you click here, you can add introduction. If I type introduction, so if you observe this closely, we have this is bigger, this is smaller, but they're all on the placeholder on the slide, and this is called the thumbnail. So even your slide has a ruler. This is a ruler. We have the vertical and horizontal ruler. We also have here the note area. This is called the note area, where we can add 1 or 2 words we'll use in the course of presenting, the course of making our slide. We can add some words we don't want to forget here on the click to add notes. Also, below it we have the slide status bar. We call this, so we have the slide 1 of 1. It's called the status bar from here to the extreme here. Also, note we have different views here. The first view is called the normal view, followed by the slide sorter view, followed by the reading view, followed by the slide show. We can reduce the zoom level, we can increase the zoom level here, and we have the size of the zoom here. We can as well as scroll up and scroll down our slide, vertical and horizontal scroll bar. With time, we're going to explore how we can scroll up to the first slide and scroll down to other slide. So in our work today, we have only slide 1 of 1. We have slide 1 of 1. How do I add slide to my presentation? The first thing you must do is you can only add slide under the slide group. Under the slide group, here we call it the new slide. Here we call it the slide layout. Third command here is called the reset, and the last command there is called the section. We're going to explore all of this as we proceed. Now let's add a new slide. If you click on the arrow pointing down, you have all the different types of slide, ranging from title slide, title and content, section header, to content, comparison, title only, blank, content with caption, picture with captions. So when I click on the second one, which is title and content, you have the second slide being inserted, where we have our thumbnail. So we have the first slide and our second slide. The first slide, don't forget, where we typed in, we call this place the placeholder on the slide, where we have our text. The second slide here now, we have title and content. We have this, we can click inside there and drop the content. We can click inside here, or we can also decide also, because the slide has room for us to insert picture here. We can also insert what we call smart art. We can also insert 3D models. We can also insert video. We can insert table. We can insert a chart. But in case you don't want to insert any of this, you want to type directly, you can type in directly. You can type in directly. Government of Nigeria. So you can type in directly. When you start typing, you notice that all the options you saw earlier has gone up because you're now using text on it. But where you want to insert any of those options, where you have a picture or you have a chart you want to insert, just click here and insert it there. So that is for the second types of slide. Now let's go and click on the arrow pointing down again. We have section header. That's the third one, section header. If you look at your status bar, you have slide 3 of 3. That means you've inserted 3 different slides using the new slide. So the new slide gives you access to add more slides to your presentation. We're going to select the fourth one, which is to content. So here you can add a title and give the to content of whatever subject you're discussing. So we'll go back to the first slide. We are on the first slide, the second slide, the third slide, and the fourth slide. Let's explore the content of the clipboard group. Let's explore the content of the clipboard group. So when I click on my first slide, I have MS PowerPoint introduction. So we're going to copy this and paste it on the second slide. Let's explore how to copy and paste and how to cut and paste. Let's start with the copy and paste. When I come to where I have typed my MS PowerPoint, I can highlight. Highlighting means you are selecting the text. So I'll click from the left hand side to the right hand side. You can also start from the right hand side to the left hand side. Whichever way that will be more convenient for you, you can do that. So after highlighting the text, you can come to your copy command here on the clipboard group and click on it. When you copy the text still remains in its original position. Then let's go to the slide 2. I'll click on slide 2. I'll come here The slide 2 was title and content. I'll click here and I'll select my paste. I'll come here and paste it now. So I have PowerPoint in the first slide, I have PowerPoint on the second slide. I was able to copy from here and paste it here. Let's try the next command, which is the cut and paste. Cut and paste. So I'll come to where I have my introduction. I'll click in the placeholder, click and highlight, then come to my scissors where I have the cut. I'll click on it, come back to my slide 2 and click on the placeholder down and paste it there. So what I've succeeded in doing, I have cut it from here and pasted it on slide 2. So the difference between copy and paste, when you copy, you have a duplicate of your work. When you cut, you don't have that duplicate in that position again. And when you paste it, you have it in the position where you have pasted the work. That is that for cut and paste and copy and paste. In the course of the class, I will explain what the format painter is mostly used for. Let's go back to our slide. Let's see how we can insert the fifth slide. We have slide 2 of 4. Simply means you're currently on slide 2 and all the entire slide you have in your work is 4 slides. Slide 2 is selected and you have 4 slides in your work. So the last bar here is called the task bar. The task bar has the start button. It has the pin icons here. It also have the notification area where I can see my date and time, my internet connectivity, my volume, my battery level. All this is called the task bar. The task bar is spelled T-A-S-K. So this is the task bar. This is the status bar. This is your slide where we have the placeholder. This is your thumbnail. This is your ribbon where we have various groupings. These are your ribbons where we have different groupings. We have the file menu, we have the tabs, we have the title bar, we have the quick access toolbar. Those are the features of Microsoft PowerPoint. So let's proceed. What's the difference between new slide and slide layout? When you click on the new slide, at any point you click on the new slide and select any slide, for example, title only, you notice that we keep adding more slide. But let me click on the slide layout and select this now for slide 3. Slide 3 is title only. But when I click on, see, I'm still on that slide 3. When I click on blank, you notice that slide 3 has changed. The contents have changed to blank. Still on slide 3 now, I'll click on section header. The content have changed. So when I select new keep adding slide, but when I click on the slide layout, it changed the content of the slide to the very one of my choice. For example, slide 4 is section header. Under my slide layout, when I come to content with caption, it will change the context of the slide. So the difference between the new slide and the slide layout, the new slide keep adding slide, while the slide layout change the content of the slide. Let's not forget that in the course of our class. If you have any question, you can drop a question in the comment section where I will attempt all questions in the course of the class. So let's proceed now. So what do we do next now? What we do, so we have slide 1 being the PowerPoint, we have the second slide, we have the third slide, we have the fourth slide, we have the fifth slide. Let's turn slide 3 to a blank slide. We come over to where we have the slide layout, we click on blank. So slide 3 is blank. The first slide here is Microsoft PowerPoint. If you're okay with Microsoft PowerPoint and you don't want this to show, you can always click on the line of the placeholder and strike your delete key on the keyboard to remove that very placeholder. So I can click on my PowerPoint. We want to see how we can format this award now. Let's use the font group to format MS PowerPoint. So I'll highlight my PowerPoint and now go to the first thing we're going to practice is how to bold. Bold makes our text to be thicker. So I'll click on the B here to make our MS PowerPoint thicker. So this is the font. Font is the writing, the writing of the text. We have various fonts in PowerPoint, so we can click on that pointing down here and we can make our choice. We can make our choice. MS PowerPoint, I'm choosing Arial, round, empty, bold. So I'll click on it, and I can as well as grow my font by clicking on the arrow pointing down, then scrolling down to font size 66 on my. When I click on 66, my font will increase. Let me assume that you were asked to select font size 65. You can as well as click inside there. Since there's no 65, click inside, then backspace, delete whatever is there, type 65, and strike your enter key on the keyboard. And the font will be, the size of the font will be what you've typed inside there. You can as well as use this A to increase the font size. When I click on it, it's growing, it's increasing, it's increasing, it's increasing. When I click on this other capital A, but this is to reduce the font size, it will bring it to decrease it, and you can as well as increase and decrease the font size from this point. Then you can italicize your work to make your work look slant. You can underline your PowerPoint. You can as well as apply shadow to it. You can use the strike through as if you're canceling the work, strike through to cancel it, but I think there's no need of me applying that there. Then of course you can expand character to make your character to be loose, very loose, tight, very tight, loose. I think I'll leave it at loose, and I can come to the, you see this placeholder, we can increase it by dragging to the left hand side, increase by dragging to the right hand side, left and right hand side to increase, to make that the text to the inside the placeholder. So we can always expand our placeholder at any point. Here is the text color. You can select the text color. The whole of the PowerPoint is on that color. You can change the font color also to any color of your choice. So you can do this MS. When you click outside, you see how it looks like. I want to remove the text color, so you can highlight and come to the text color, click on the arrow pointing down here and say no color, no color. So that is how our text, that's how we can format our text over time. Now we said we have various types of view in PowerPoint. The first one is a normal view, followed by the slide sorter view. When you click on the slide sorter view, all your slides will be arranged this way, where you can toggle the slide. Now, for example, I can make this slide now, slide 1, come to be the last slide. You can toggle the slide in this view. I'm taking it back to slide 1, so you can always toggle. You can make slide 2 to be the last slide. You can as well as take it up. So on this slide sorter view, you can always toggle your slide the way you want. Then of course, this is for the reading view, where you want to read the contents of your slide. Now you can as well as click, you can click here, then read your slide. Then use the escape. When you're done, you can use the escape key on the keyboard to return back to the sorter view. Then the one we use for presentation, let me assume I'm in a large audience, I want to teach them what I've done in PowerPoint. I can use the slideshow. When I use my slideshow, it looks very large the way it is, the way you're seeing it now. I can as well as use my right arrow key to toggle between the various slides. When I'm done, I can use my escape key to return back here. Let's return back to our normal view, our normal view. Let's fill in the text here and see how we can change the view and use the view again, as well as save our work and explore other components of PowerPoint. So I'm coming back here, Microsoft PowerPoint, introduction. So let me change this now. Let me assume that the topic I have for the class is on ICT. I want to teach the class on ICT. So let me just type it ICT. I will activate my caps lock ICT. Then I'll write the meaning here. Let me write the meaning down here. Information and communication technology. So now I'm going to bring this text now to the center. How do I do that now? That will now take me to my paragraph group. So I'm going to highlight my ICT now. Now bring it to the center, center, center. We have left align, we have center, we have right align, we have justify. So I'm bringing to the center now. I'm going to apply my bold, which we've done before. I'm going to change our font now to Arial Black. We are also going to grow the font by increasing the font size, changing the font color to any color of your choice. Then my information and communication technology, I'll do the same thing here. I'll highlight it, place it at the center, bold the text, change my font to Arial Black. Then I can as well as change my color. So what I've simply done now, I have typed the ICT and I typed the meaning of the ICT just there. Then on my third slide is blank. Now how do I type into my blank slide? Many people have been having issue typing into their blank slide. To type into your blank slide, the first step you must do, you must go to either your insert tab, but let's use this very grouping that is called drawing. On the drawing, we have shapes. Under the shapes, you have the first tool on shape there is the text box. But let me go to insert. Let me still do the same thing using insert. Peradventure, you can't have your text display on your home tab when you have the blank. Peradventure, you don't have this displayed on your home tab. So you move to your insert tab. On the insert tab, you look for this. Under illustration, you have the shapes. When you click on the arrow pointing down, you can select your text box A. When you select your text box A, you come at any point you can click drag to draw. When you drag to draw, what you are simply doing, you are imputing a placeholder where you can type the text in PowerPoint. So I want to define ICT. I'll say ICT refers to the use of computer software, common network, and communication technologies to create, store, process, retrieve, and share information. So with this now, remember I typed everything in capital letter, so we're going to see how we can change it to small letter. Now our placeholder, we can as well as click at any point on the line of the placeholder, then drag the entire text, can drag it down, drag it to the center, or whichever way. So when we have our placeholder, we can always move our placeholder up and down, and that is done on the line, So I cannot be inside here and be dragging because it will assume you're highlighting. So I'll click on the line, take it up, take it down to any place. Now I want to highlight my text. I'll click inside, drag to the top, or you can click from top to bottom or from bottom to top, whichever way that will suit you. So now that I've typed it all in capital letter, I want to change it to small letter. This is when I can use my change case. When I click on the arrow pointing down, I can say, okay, let me use uppercase is all in capital. Uppercase is what we have there already, all in capital letter. Sentence case is the first word will be the first word. First letter will be in capital letter, while others will be in small letter. Let's go back to go and toggle the case again. We go back there. Lowercase means everything should be in small letter, while we have uppercase, everything back to capital letter. Capitalize each word. See the way it is. ICT, I is capital letter, refers, capital R, to. So each of the word, the first letter in each of the words is in capital letter. That is for that effect. Toggle case. When you toggle the case, oftentimes since you started the words with capital letter, you cannot toggle the text. But let's use sentence case so that we can effect the correction. I'll click on sentence case, then I will increase the font size from 18 to 40. Good, I have 40. So I'll come back here and change my small c to capital C and capital T. So this is a definition. If I want my left and right margin to be perfect, I'll now use justify. We did this in a Microsoft Word class when we're typing our sample data. So we're going to highlight this and select the justify under the paragraph group. So when I click on it, you see both the left and the right margin is perfect. So we can leave it this way. We can leave it this way. Now that's for our slide 3. Slide 1 was MS PowerPoint. Slide 2 was ICT. Now we can format this ICT by clicking on the placeholder and bringing the character to the center and making ICT to also drop to the center. Let's have it at the center this way. So I have this, I have it this way, I have my ICT definition here. So what do we do next on slide 4? On slide 4, we are going to type the components of ICT. Let's type inside here. This placeholder is called, this very one, the placeholder over there is called the section header. How did I know it? I went to click on my layout to just know the name. If I click on my new and click on any of them, don't forget to add to the slide. But when I click on my placeholder, I can always know the name through this part, or I can select any, I can change it at this point here. Let me select title and content because I want to explain the component of ICT. So I'll change this now to title and content. Don't forget it was on section header, so I'm changing to title and content. I'll click here. So when I click there, I'll type the component of ICT. I want to list the component of ICT. So I'll click here. I'll start listing the components. The first component of ICT is computer. Then the computer, we can say the computer has desktop. We can say desktop or laptop. The next component of ICT, we can say mobile phones and tablets. Mobile phones. Mobile phones and tablets. The next component of ICT is internet. The next component is software application. The next component is communication network. The next component, again, that's what we'll stop. We'll say we can call it printers, scanners, and other digital devices. Okay, then our last section now, I think this is, we can format it. We can decide to bring the component of ICT to the center by selecting this center. Then we can as well as increase the font size, make the text bold, change the color from here. Then we can, some persons who prefer bringing theirs to the center too, but I prefer it to be this way. The left align is okay for the work. At this point, let's create the last slide, and we tell our audience thank you for their time. In the part 2 of PowerPoint section, we are going to use we're going to do a comprehensive presentation where we are going to have 25 pages, and we're going to learn how to apply the various designs. We're going to learn how to provide how to apply various design, how to apply transition, how to apply animations, how to apply the slide, and so on and so forth. But in our today's class, we're just trying to explore the various components, but this will serve like the foundation so we can be able to explore other components in our next class. So let's explain the last one. Let's just give the last slide. Uses of ICT. Let's just explain the uses. What do we use? Uses of ICT. Under this, don't forget, how do I know the name of this slide? I can click here. So this slide is to content. This slide is to content. Okay. What are the uses of ICT? Number one, I can say, okay, education. ICT can be used for education. I can say, okay, let number two be for business. Business. Another use of ICT again is for healthcare. Let me include the healthcare here. Healthcare. Number four, banking. Okay, I think I made a mistake. The banking. Strike my enter key. Banking. Another use of ICT again can be used by the government for what we call e-government service. By the government. Excuse me. Is used by the government. Then is also used for entertainment. Entertainment. etc. They have so many. We have so many uses of ICT. So we'll stop there. We'll include our last slide. Let's format this. Let's bring it to the center. So we have it. Let's bold the text. I think I'll only do that. Let's change the font color to this. Let's change the font to this. Okay. You can as well as apply the effect on the text also. Now the last slide now, I want to insert the last slide to tell my audience thank you for this wonderful presentation. So I'll go back here. I'll select my blank. Let me remind us, click on my blank. I don't have the placeholder. So what do? I go to my shapes and click on my text box A, drag to draw. And I'll tell my audience, thank you for listening. So I'm going to increase the font size by highlighting the text. I'm going to grow the font, make it very, very big. Thank you for listening. That is my font size, 80. Okay, I think I can work on it. I can work on it. Thank you for listening. I can as well as change the font here to Arial Black, or let's use Algerian. Okay, I can highlight my text, bring it to the center, then change the color of my text, make it this way, then bold the text, apply shadow to the text. See, if you click outside, you see it has a shadow just by the side, and that is done using this. So I've been able to do this. Now let me just make my slide look so very not too attractive. So let me make my slide look attractive so that my audience will be captivated. That's the main purpose of doing a presentation. At least you have the attention of your audience. So let's click on design. Under the design, we have explored home tab, some content here. Insert tab, we've left drawing, so we are now on design tab. On the design tab now, click on my first slide. Then I'll now go and select. Here we call them the themes. There are various themes. There are different types of themes. We have the list is here. We have endless list here, so we can make our choice. We can make our choice. When we move here, you see how it looks like. Now let me explain this. When you apply your themes to your work, you must be extremely careful. When I click on any theme here, it will apply the theme to my entire work. It will apply the theme to my entire work. So I'm going to undo. Undo simply means you're reversing your action. You don't want it to be applied to the entire work. So I will undo. Either I use Ctrl Z on the keyboard, or you can go back to your home tab and use your clipboard group and click on the undo here. When you click on the undo, it will reverse it back. It will reverse it back. So that is the function of the undo. If I redo simply means repeat what you just simply undo. So if I undo now, you see where I was before. If I want to reverse it back, I will select the undo. So now let's go back to our design. I like this very theme only for my first page, my first slide. So what I will do, I will right click on my mouse and select apply to selected slide. So don't forget, slide 1 is the one that is selected. So I go back to my design, I come back to my themes. So I want this very one to be applied only to my slide 1. So I will right click and select apply to selected slide. So other slide are still the white background, but slide 1 has this unique theme under my design. So slide 2 now, I can go back to my theme again and say which theme should I select for slide 2? Should I leave it this way or should I leave it this way? You can make your choice. Any one you want, you can right click and then apply to selected slide. So my slide 1 and my slide 2 has two various themes. Slide 3 now can say, okay, let me use this, right click on it, select to selected slide, apply to selected slide. Then slide 3, same thing, you can say, okay, let me use this now, right click, apply to selected slide. And the slide 5, which is use of ICT, you can say, okay, let me use this, right click, apply to selected slide. Then the last one, thank you for listening. I think I'm going to use a different styles there. Different, okay, I think I like this main event. Right click, apply to selected slide. So you've seen my slide now, it's almost white. So at least I've applied little themes to all my slide now. And each of the team has their own various slide, even though I had to repeat some of the themes to some slides. So some slides have 2 of it. But don't forget, if you go and click on one of the themes to apply to the entire slide. If you have any question, you can drop your question on the comment section. So now let's switch back to our various views. I'll go back and click on slide 1. So on slide 1 now, I'm currently on my normal view. So you can move to slide sorter view. I told you this slide sorter view is used to rearrange your slide. Let me assume that you want to explain use of ICT after ICT, or you want to exchange the component of ICT with use of ICT first. You can always drag from here and come over here to replace this slide here. So now, after defining ICT, talk about the use of ICT, talk about the component, and you thank your audience. So I'm going to switch this to this other way. So that is what you can do with this view. Then peradventure you want to read your slide, you can click on slide 1, then click on the reading view where you can be reading it for yourself. When you finish reading slide 1, you use the right arrow key to read slide 2, slide 3, slide 4. Since it's what you're presenting, it's advisable you go through it over and over and over. When you're done, you can touch your escape key. Then the last one is the slideshow. You're going to present this now. You're presenting your work now to a large audience. So your slideshow is what you're going to be using. So when I click on my slideshow, let me assume I'm now there. I'm here to present Microsoft PowerPoint. In our today's section, we're talking about ICT. ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. I'll begin my presentation now. Then you define it for them. Then use of ICT is for education, to educate both students of ICT. You mention the components that are used for ICT or that enhance ICT. Thank you for listening. Then the audience, you see how captivating the slides are because you use your team. In our part 2, we are going to explore other features of the PowerPoint. When you're done with your work, it is advisable you save your work. How do you save your work? How do you save your work? You click on the file menu. On the file menu, you select the save. When you click on this, note these 2 things. When you click on your save as or save, whichever one, the first time the save and the save as will always do the same function, will take you to the same environment. You select your browse. You must take note of the file name. The file name is use of or let's just say the file name is ICT. Then where will it be saved? Document. You can change to save your work on your desktop environment. You can decide to leave it at document, but by default it's always document. The file name is ICT. Where will it be saved? Inside document. When you click on save, now very important, you must take note of the file name. You must know the file name and you must know where you're saving the work, so you can easily locate it the next day when you're coming to use the work again, or when you're coming to modify the work. When you're done with the file name as well as the location, you can click on the save. When you click on the save, you notice this, that you have the file name change. Initially we had presentation 1, now we're having ICT, and you're still on PowerPoint. So this is how we can create a professional slide. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. See you in our next section. Don't forget to share, to like, and to subscribe to this channel. See you in my next section. Thank you for listening.